It's Nick's forecast. Today's March 2nd. Anyways, just come again. Anyways, just talk about economy, war, other stuff. Right now, there was an article today out of Munich, Germany, economist at one of the big banks. It wasn't Deutsche Bank. It was another big German bank. I can't remember. He's saying that the U.S. housing is going to go up another 10% this year. So if you're a real estate agent, that's pretty good. If you got some listings, or if you're, if you're representing basically a builder, that's cool. Mortgage broker, maybe so. It could be good, possibly. Interest rates fell today just under 4%, like 3.9 or whatever. Still low. To me, anything under 6% is low. So you have that going on. The stock market did go up today 640 points or so. I just checked it a few minutes ago, and they still have another hour left. Basically, right now there's a problem is with the hedge funds and the multi-billionaires and the economic advisory group. Next, say that advisory groups, a lot of billions and billions, and they're basically their front version of the hedge funds and mutual funds, especially the hedge funds and the advisory groups, and a lot of billionaires. And what they're doing is they're buying up a lot of real estate. I remember Grant Cardone was talking about this a while ago, but I already knew about all this anyways. But it was talked about a few months ago. That was pretty cool because I haven't seen anybody else really bring it up. But it's a problem because they keep buying up, like Zillow when they upped out and they had to give up all their properties, a lot of property. You've got a lot of big out there, and I'm not just talking, the Black Rocks and all that kind of stuff. We've got $10 trillion under advisement, but there's a lot of other ones that have billions and billions, some close to $1 trillion. So they got a lot of cash, and you have these advisory groups and hedge funds line everything up. And so it affects a lot of markets, especially in good areas. And like I was saying before, Zillow did last week, they did like 121 cities where the average price is over $1 million. And so middle class and scratched out, but it goes up another 10%. And with the inflation buying at the DTI, that's a problem. Now you've got the war situation, and right now Ukraine, they're holding their own. The Russians, the numbers, no one's really sure. There was a bombardment in their second biggest city yesterday and today, still going. A lot of civilian casualties. Soldiers have been blowing up their own equipment and they turning themselves into the Ukrainians, and a lot of them have gotten killed. And it's all speculative because you don't really know what the numbers are. Ukrainians, same way. So the numbers could be high. You still get the 40-mile column, which I don't know why they haven't. And I still can't figure out why they haven't hit. They hit another column today, but everything on the economy, because you got a lot of PSYOP coming out of Russia, China. You got a lot of PSYOP coming out of the U.S. And basically, European Union. But all this stuff has effect and everything. Like the stock market today, it went up bonkers, and so over 34,000 to accumulate loss. But the thing is, they were major players doing it, and they can really screw with the economy. And what I always worry about is the economy can get wiped out because they could pull the rug at any time. These are the major elites and all that stuff, and affects real estate because the interest rate going to have to raise it up, and they're anticipating it's one of the stock market quote unquote went up today, and they're not sure. These analysts, they don't know what the hell is going on sometimes. But anyway, that's to speculate. So the interest rate needs to go up because they got to take some of the sales out as the amount of money supply rolling through the system. Because of the couple dollars that Trump put through, and Biden used some of it they've held in reserve, and I don't know why. So there's a lot of it that's still money being stayed, and whatever they're going to use. They'd be good to use it on the highways and stuff like that, even though they passed a bill, but I don't think it was effective enough. Because a lot of highways and roads and bridges around the U.S. are pretty bad. And since I've driven all over the U.S., I've seen it. Northeast is pretty bad. They got some pretty bad ones in the Northeast. Midwest and Southwest have probably got the best highway systems. The West Coast, they need some cash to really fix I-5 and 101, because that goes all the way to California, Oregon, Washington. And then also 90 goes all the way to South Dakota to Rapid City. A A lot of areas in there need to be fixed, and it goes through into Billings, Montana. So there's a lot of areas need to be fixed. There's a lot of roads in Idaho. Idaho's got pretty good roads, but they still need to get scored. But I'm just doing of just, there's a lot of areas that need to be fixed, and the states need money. So hopefully they'll release some of that. But everything affects everything for real estate, and with the war keep going on, that has a lot of effect. And basically, even though Biden gave a speech last night, but it didn't really say anything. It was just the same usual stuff. And so it's not going to help because the inflationary pressures are bad. And there was an article on Drudge Report about some inflationary of toothpaste going $1 a piece. So, yeah, and these are just inflationary numbers. Gas prices could really, really go up. Again, they went down about 5-6 cents today. They in my area, they were running about 340 or 345 or whatever. They went down 6 cents. Some parts that's the same way, but the oil release was only for 3 or 4 days, so it's kind of a joke. So if you're an investor, you got to hold your bridges on. If you find a good deal, if you're a seller, a lot of sellers are going to hold off, and they're not going to do anything, and that's kind of a problem because they don't want to list, and I understand why, because they already refinance their interest rates low, and they want to keep the low payment. They just don't want it because they have to try to find another house. And a lot of times the sellers moving out of state, then that's kind of a deal. But it's going to be harder and harder to do it because there are some sellers that just go ahead and do it because they want the cash, and they've already got a plan. Maybe they got a for sale by owner. They're going to buy somewhere else. Somebody else is going to sell, and they're going to get a bigger house, or they're going to get a smaller house. Apartment buildings are just going to be apartment buildings. In the city or suburb areas are going to be a lot more. If you go further out, 30 miles, I will go look 25 to 40, 50 miles out. And because you can get a deal on an apartment building, and that's the way it is. Unless somebody's selling, then you go ahead and do it. Commercial building and business oriented, if you have a company or whatever, or maybe just for yourself, just to do it, I would say buy the apartment building. It's more economically, and also too, you can, you have ability to raise the rents more, and also too down the investment, because apartment buildings rates are hotels. I haven't really gotten to hotels at all. Me and my cousin, we have financed some hotels before. Some that went bust. We financed some. Hotels are interesting, and they can be real profitable, but there's a little power, and there's a lot of stuff that has to be done, and you really got to be an operator to do it, especially if you're buying. Because like Realogy, they own Coldwell Banker, Century 21. And they think they used to own ERA, but I don't know, ERA is still around really in the Northeast. I don't know, in the South, some parts of the Southeast. I don't know if they ever got rid of it, but they own Coldwell Banker. Such those were monsters. Remember Barton Chandler, Coldwell Banker. He's probably one of the better CEOs in the real estate industry in the past 40 years. Of course, money, you've never heard of him, but he was pretty squared away. Because I worked a short time in a Coldwell Banker shop for a while, but it wasn't long. Anyways. That's where I got fired. It went from independent to Coldwell Banker office. Remember, I got fired from there. But the owner was a complete loser, and so were the basically the manager. They were complete idiots. But anyways, I'll never mention their names or anything else. But they were complete. Their company's gone anyways a long time ago. But I'd have to tell you about that story, and then tell you what happened to the owner later on, how the franchise. But he screwed so many agents so many times that he got what he deserved in that. So anyways, I'll explain it to you. But anyways, so and you get a kick out of it because stories I'll tell one of these days. You kind of general synopsis of stuff, because that's what real estate is. Real estate stories, all these different stories you can tell about how you got these deals, how you did this, because real estate is based on experience. And so, an agent for years and years and years and years and years, mortgage broker for years, and I've done had a lease fund company, and I've all these other finance companies and doing all this other stuff. And the finance companies were different. We weren't doing any residential mortgages. We were doing commercial mortgages, business finance stuff. We still do it. So anyways, but so it's a lot of it's experience. That's why I'm always telling you that go with experience. experienced agent at 10 years or more, or at least 8 or 10 years or more, that's been around the block that does commercial and residential. I mean, for a franchise, if I would do it, Remax, if by basic averages, they have the most experienced agents out of franchises in the U.S. I know EP numbers have gone up. I saw something on Inman News about that. Real estate office, essentially, they're based in Bellingham, but the ownership is kind of spread out among the masses, which is cool to me. Hey, I know people are EXP real estate, and they got their own thing going. There's a bunch of other cloud or online real estate brokerages all over the U.S. The thing is, like before, I see problems. There's a lot of problems that I can see doing that. Just because the EXP, at least they've got offices around, but a lot of these new clubs coming up, and basically there's internet companies, but they really don't have they have a PO box, or they rent a Regus office, but there's no one shows up there. They just have to have it by law. But the thing is, I can see there's a lot of problems with it. I kind of talked about it a while back. One of these days I'll get into it more. But anyway, so basically with the war going on, it could go either way. It depends if Putin's going to use WMDs or he's using a bluff, but it could get really, really bad. And if they start dropping the bigger bombs that they're starting to do, it's going to get bad. But the problem is the Russian military has really hit a wall, and I want to see the 40-mile compound get destroyed. I mean, the 4-mile convoy, so they get destroyed. And I don't know why they haven't sent any special forces, Ukrainian special forces or recon units to go in there, or even drones or pilots, because I would have every drone or pilot and every special forces team I have to go in that 40 unit and break it up, at least into 4 segments. Hit the front, hit the back side of the front. You basically hit one at 10 miles. It would be to hit one every 5 miles and knock it out. But you want to hit the front of it, hit the rear of it, so they get cut off. Because these soldiers I've seen in video, a lot of them are crying, whining like little kids. A lot of them are conscripts, so they're poorly trained anyways. And basically a lot of their tanks, as Ukrainian soldiers said, the Russian tanks were older than their tanks. I kind of laughed. It was kind of a funny thing. As being a soldier in the past, a warrior, so I understand it. Anyways, they dropped in some paratroopers, I guess 2 nights ago, into Kharkiv. It's a second city, so I'm not sure where they dropped outside the city. I think they dropped a brigade, I guess. So there.